Okay, I'm sure everybody at this point has either seen a clip or watched or listened to the Breakfast Club interview with Wendy Williams and her niece. And as I can see, many people have thoughts about the interview. I think a lot of the thoughts are limited in understanding the full story and even the full process to what Wendy Williams is experiencing. So this video is not to specifically focus on Wendy Williams, but to kind of talk about what guardianship is and what conservatorship is and how that process works with the probate courts in the United States. I think that Charlemagne and DJ Envy did not do their due diligence on effectively presenting a conversation that provides both sides so that the audience can understand the full capacity. I've seen hundreds of comments where individuals are saying, "Oh, Wendy sounds fine. I don't understand," or even them on the radio show saying, "You sound fine. You're not incapacitated," without fully understanding that that is not what makes a decision about incapacity. It also is not a factor in the process of recognizing that when a person has dementia, they can have periods of lucidity, and then they can have periods where things are choppy. So I think that it's concerning to make a baseless comment or point without accurate knowledge or research or even someone there to adequately explain the process and what you're getting people to jump on a bandwagon about. So I listened to the full interview as well because I wanted to make an informed presentation about what I'm going to say outside of just talking about what conservatorship is and what guardianship is. And again, remember that I'm not specifically talking about Wendy Williams' situation because none of us knows the entire situation. We know what has been released to the public, which means that we need to take all of it with a grain of salt. But what I can say is from a clinical perspective, because I am also a speech and language pathologist who serves on the probator, guardianship and conservator panels for DC Superior Courts here in the DMV area. So I have extensive experience with examining individuals to determine capacity and whether or not, guardianship should be provided to either a petitioner or an unbiased party appointed by the courts. And so in saying that, capacity is not specifically about how a person sounds in the moment. The first thing that we have to do is keep in mind that how Wendy Williams may sound today may not have been how she presented or sounded at the time that the decision to give guardianship, financial guardianship specifically, to the unbiased court-appointed party was provided. These are two different things. Guardianship and conservatorship can also be revoked or removed if a person's ability to demonstrate that they can consciously and functionally make decisions about their daily living skills, their financial requirements, and their medical requirements, then, it can be reversed to give them back guardianship, to their rights or give it to somebody else. It is not something that says once a person has been assigned, that's the person forever. Let me start there. Secondly, capacity is determined based on a person's cognitive status. The first thing, if we're correlating it back to Wendy Williams, that we have to keep in mind is that she has been diagnosed with the progressive form of dementia. What that means is that cognitively, her brain will continue to deteriorate, especially in those areas of problem solving and communication and comprehension and, consequential thinking, memory, all of those areas. Not only was she diagnosed with PPA, which is a progressive form of dementia, she was also diagnosed with the prefrontal cortex impairment, which, sometimes comes from allegedly alcohol dementia. And so while there are times when alcohol dementia can be reversed, sometimes it has done enough damage that those areas of the brain that it has impacted cannot be regenerated. It's specifically because the area that is impacted is the prefrontal cortex. That's your frontal lobe that primarily houses your problem solving skills, your memory skills, your recall skills, your working memory skills, your consequential thinking skills, your processing skills, all of the things that is needed to be a functional individual and manage your finances, your medical decisions, all of those type of things. So when an examiner goes into a space, so let me back up. When a person files a petition for a financial guardian and or conservator, or a guardian as a whole and a conservator, what happens is the court automatically appoints 3 people, well, 3 to 4 people. They appoint a guardian ad litem, which is the individual that assists in representing the subject. So, for instance, in this case, the subject would be Wendy Williams. When whoever filed the petition and the court received the petition, the court appoints Wendy Williams a guardian ad litem. That person is there to support and represent her, in this case, to determine what her wishes are, what should be best recommended, and all of those things. They are also beneficial when a person does not have the ability to make those decisions or communicate their wants and needs. The second person that is always appointed is a counsel. And so in addition to the guardian ad litem, the subject is also appointed a court-appointed counsel. Again, that means that in this situation, Wendy Williams was not only appointed a guardian ad litem for the case, but she was appointed a counsel. These 2 individuals are considered to be unbiased parties to the decision on what happens. They are just there to represent the best wishes and the wants and needs of the individual and to support them in that decision. In addition to the guardian ad litem and the counsel, there is an examiner appointed. The examiner, again, is an unbiased party that goes in and assesses the individual to determine if they are cognitively intact or if they may meet the code for that state for incapacitation. Every state has a code for incapacity. The additional person that is assigned is usually a visitor. The visitor goes in and they review, everything from the person's finances, what money is coming in, what money is going out, if they own property, if they pay mortgages, if they get pension, if they have a trust. They review all of the finances and everything. Once all of those individuals have met with the person and filed a report, there's a court date set. Everybody comes to the court date. Those court-appointed, unbiased individuals report out on their findings, and then a decision is made based on all of the findings. The decision is not made just off of one petition. The decision is not made just because somebody said she can't do something. There are multiple things that have to be demonstrated first. First and foremost, the examiner has to demonstrate how the test that they did reveals that the person's cognitive status either does or does not meet the code of incapacity in that state. I'll put up a next video to talk specifically about New York State codes for incapacity and what that is and how that might likely may have been met. But this conversation is about recognizing what actually is the probate process for guardianship and conservatorship. At that hearing, everybody gets a chance to speak. The court-appointed individuals get a chance to report out on their reports. The subject gets a chance to speak if they are present and cognizant enough to communicate. The petitioner gets a chance to speak. Anybody that is on that side that does agree with it. Sometimes if family members come to the court and agree or don't agree, they get a chance to speak to the judge, and then the judge takes all of those things into consideration and makes a decision on whether or not guardianship should be provided. In this instance, the decision appears that based on how Wendy Williams' cognition was being presented, she did not meet the capacity code for that state, and so an unbiased party was designated as her guardian. The next video, I'm going to talk about what I saw clinically or heard clinically from Wendy Williams and why we need to take into account other factors. But this was just to explain to you what the guardianship process is. I hope that helps, and I hope that we take that into account before making broad assumptions about people doing things inaccurately, because there may be more to the story than you have been